Jewish Week on JN1.
A French Jewish student union took social media website Twitter to a Paris High Court this week in the hopes of convincing the judge to oblige Twitter to reveal the identities of those behind an anti-Semitic tweet published last October. The students say it's a question of preventing the spread of racial discrimination on the internet. But Alexandra Neri, lawyer for Twitter, says the issue is not so clear-cut.
Twitter doesn't try to hide himself behind American law or non-application of French law. In this complex situation, where we cannot have a clear answer which laws apply, and we have to compromise. So the compromise will be to comply with American law and to be sure that by complying with French law, we don't violate American law.
For her, the issue is about the application of French law to foreign companies like Twitter, which exist in several countries. By obliging them to adhere to French law, this means that every country could impose its own rules on Twitter. So the solution offered this week in court is that if obliged, Twitter will reveal the identities of the authors behind the tweet, on the condition that they be tried in the United States, Twitter's country of origin. But Sacha Reingeviertz, vice president of the Jewish Students' Union in France, refutes this solution.
That's not a proper argument, and the lawyer of Twitter knows perfectly that all the American websites for their French version have to adapt to the French law, and that's done by every American website, Facebook, Google, they all adapt to the French law. So Twitter is perfectly able to do so, they just don't want to do so.
Whatever the outcome, the implications of this Twitter affair are far-reaching, and not just for the Jewish community.
It impacts everyone that goes online, and it impacts every person that feels that online isn't a place you can say everything you want to say. Jews here are the one holding the issue up and going to court because they stand for their rights, but I'm sure behind them is lots of people saying it's good what you're doing and we believe it should be done. Because if it's not done now, then where do we go?
For the Jewish student body, they simply want to prevent comments on the web from translating into violent actions.
We're afraid that the surge of anti-Jewish resentment on Twitter might have direct consequences because history has proven that when people use communication means to broadcast hateful content, it can lead to massacres, it can lead to all kinds of community targeting.
The High Court here in Paris will deliver its verdict on January 24. Whether it's a victory for Twitter or for the Jewish Student Union, the case has drawn attention to the judicial limitations of foreign companies in France, but also to the fine line between freedom of expression and its abuse. This is Deepti Namsivayam for JN1 in Paris.